Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to cilinixfxcapital. Hope you're all doing great. Hope you're having a great week, and welcome to this daily update right here on Bitcoin. We're going to do a full update. We have some news coming in today, so we'll talk about that. The fundamentals at this point of time, like usually I start off with a bit of a fundamental update, right? So what's going on? Are there any things that you need to know about? And obviously, over the course of the last week, there were a lot of things I could keep you updated on. At this point of time, that's not really the case. I mean, gold, the volatility index are quite stable and lower. The oil prices have dropped down significantly, so those don't really matter that much anymore. And in general, the S&P 500, so equities are doing quite well. And then on the other hand, crypto specifically, you have the Coinbase Bitcoin price doing quite well. So at this point of time, the fundamentals are stable and actually quite good. Now, we do have some news coming in today, which could theoretically change that, so we'll talk about that. And purely technically, I mean, Bitcoin right now, as expected, although I would have liked a pullback first before doing this, but as expected, after reclaiming the bottom of the range right here, we have been able to get up to the top of the range. But that does mean, and this is something I spoke about yesterday already as well, in that sense, my analysis on Bitcoin has really not changed, because I do think that in this level right here between 110 and 108, which is, you know, the top of the resistance, even a little bit above that, to be fair, because the value area high is at 108,000. I do think from here we will reject, and we will drop back down to the bottom of the range. I'm not convinced about a bullish breakout, and if you would say, or if you think that we're going to break above, if we're going higher than 110,000, you're basically saying, I think we're going to have a bullish breakout. And at this point of time, and I just don't see the volume for that. I just don't think the fundamentals are good enough for that. And then outside of that, and this is also something I think I said yesterday, like if you go back the last like 4 or 5 summers, the price action was stable, right? And a bullish breakout did not really happen. So therefore, you know, can we spike up a little bit higher? Certainly, but I do think the top is closer than the bottom. Now, if we take a look at the TPO chart right here, what you can see is that you know, today is actually, it's an interesting day for multiple reasons. But if we take a look at the TPO chart, you can see that the open is relatively narrow, so that leaves an opportunity, or that leaves chances for volatility. But the open is within the value of yesterday, right? So that's usually a sign of stability. For me, the main level to watch for a potential pullback, by the way, is 106,600. Not only is that the value area low of the value yesterday, but that's also on the 1 hour time frame, the trend, right? So 106.6. If we break down below that, then that could be an early sign, especially if it happens with volume, that we're going to have a pullback. So keep your eyes on that. And one way we could get a pullback, outside of just being at the top of the range, right? So a pullback like that is a possibility nonetheless. But it's the news, because later today we actually have GDP data coming out. And one of the key risks for the market in 2025 is a potential US recession. Now, at this point of time, there's no fear of a recession, and all the economic data that we had in the last 2 months also does not predict or does not lead to a recession, especially not when the oil prices are low. But if the GDP growth rate is much lower than expected, or if the GDP price index is much lower than expected, then that could fundamentally be a catalyst to push us down below that level right here at 106,600. So that's something to watch. But as it stands right now, getting back to what I said at the start of the video, the fundamentals are stable. The fundamentals for crypto specifically are leaning bullish. So as long as we do not get any negative data, negative news, I think we're going to remain relatively stable. And I don't really see a reason yet, besides the fact that normally Thursdays for Bitcoin have been quite bad the last month. But I don't really see a reason why we would not continue this slow grind up for now, into 109, into 110, before getting a bigger rejection back into 105 and 103. But those are my thoughts. I think that's what you need to know for now. So if you do have any questions, let me know down in the comments. But for now, have a great day. Thank you for watching, and take care. Bye.